Champagne Dreams Productions branch office. Let's zoom in a little bit. Not loving this hair. It's starting to grow out. I need to get it cut. I'm probably going to try to get it cut next week because next weekend I have a fundraiser. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But yes, my name is Janessa J. Champagne. I'm North Dakota's trash queen of glam, geek, and gore. And welcome. I hope you subscribe. I would love to have you stick around. I just decided to come on and have a lovely little random Thursday night hangout. Dion's live that happened tonight was a little bit short, and I was finishing up with work and the live was already done, and so I was like, you know what, let's have a little live, let's jump on. I have not been live as often lately. Work has been blown up, as always tends to happen. Please, someone kill me. But, yeah, so I am just popping on to say hello and see how people are doing. And I thought we could talk about the new Nomad cosmetics. And we could talk about how one of my new favorite things, I don't know how long this is going to stick around. This is Dirty Mountain Dew. This is a zero sugar version. They did make a zero sugar version of this. It's a cream soda dew. And I think that it is based on the like Mormons who do like dirty soda because they can't drink coffee. Hey Dawn, how's it going? Because they can't drink coffee, but apparently they can have caffeine if it's in soda. I mean, they wear like magic underwear and shit. So like, take it all with a grain of salt and a half. Hello CJ, hello, how are you doing? But yeah, so they have Dirty Mountain Dew, which is a cream soda dew, and I'm kind of a little bit obsessed with it. Can we also talk about how I found creamy coconut Dr. Pepper, which I don't know who, I swear it was in a live. I feel like somebody told me it was gonna like change my life, and it's horrendous. It is horrendous. I found the zero sugar. I don't know if the zero sugar is just worse than the regular. Maybe they tried the regular and there's something better about that. It tastes like drinking tanning lotion. I mean, it really is. However tanning lotion smells, that's what that tastes like. It's horrific. I didn't love it. It did grow on me a little bit, but not enough that I want to buy it again. Hello, Dion. How's it going? I want to try the cream cherry Pepsi. Why, do you mean this one, Dawn? The wild cherry and cream? This is my backup if I finish the Dirty Dew. So yeah, we have a couple different flavors of soda with us tonight. But this Dirty Mountain Dew is kind of a little bit of an obsession that I have now. Oh, I love it, Dion. Don't ew. Oh, I love it. Hello, Alex. How's it going? Hello, Janet? Oh, did I not switch to... Maybe I didn't switch to all. Hold on. I did not switch to all. There we go. Let me scroll up a little bit. Let's see. Mountain Dew. Hi, Dawn. Hey, hello again, everyone. Hello, Janet. You are here. Hello, Janet. I don't know why YouTube does this to me. Yummy tanning lotion. Yeah, not good. It was not good. Hey Dion, yes, ew, yeah. Oh, maybe that's what you're saying ew about, is the drinking tanning lotion. That coconut creamy whatever Dr. Pepper was not good. I didn't like it. Oh, you dislike cream sodas? I love cream soda. It's hard to find like a 0-calorie cream soda, just like it's really hard to find 0-calorie fruit sodas, which makes me sad a little bit because I love fruit flavored sodas. Let's see, everybody's saying hello. Welcome to live chat. Guard your privacy. I'm tempted to try it since it's due, but the cream part, it's good. Like, I really like it. It's an interesting kind of flavor. I don't think it tastes so much like cream soda. I feel like it tastes like it's got like a cream flavor, but like cream, like actual cream, not the like fake cream soda cream. I like it. You may hate it. I think you can buy both the full sugar and the zero sugar in 20 ounce, like at a gas station. So if you just wanted to try one instead of buying like a 12 pack, you might be able to do that. All right. Hello, everybody. Yes. So that's, yeah. So let's talk a little bit. Let's start with this coming up weekend. Not this weekend, not like in 2 days. Ooh, pretty girl. let's talk about next weekend, the 15th and 16th, Friday and Saturday. I'm taking part in another improv theater fundraiser. So last year, you may remember we did Hoboken High Reunion 1989, and I was Joala Kavanaugh, secretly revealed to be Teresa Kavanaugh because Joala was dead. And it was very Jersey. I don't think my Jersey accent is very good. It's sort of Jersey via the Midwest. But this year, we're doing our sequel to that, which is Uncle Louie's Big Sad Funeral. And there are some returning characters. So Doreen Lucino, who was responsible for Darla's death. She didn't murder her. It was an accident, but she got hauled off at the end for being a murderess. Hello, Devin. How are you doing? Nice to see you. And so Doreen is back, and I think that might be all that's returning from the last. There are people like cast that are returning, but I think that's the only character that's returning. I think everybody else is playing new characters. I am going to be playing. So Uncle Louie has passed away, and we are all gathering together to, mourn him. Really, everybody's just trying to get their hands on his money is what's happening. So we've got his wife, who's like his third or fourth wife, and we have his mistress are both there. We have his son, who may have a thing for his most recent stepmom. They may have a little thing going on. His daughter has been granted temporary release to come to the funeral, so that's where Doreen comes in. We've got Father Shenanigans is going to be running the funeral. We've got his attorney there. And I am going to be the woman of mystery who enters to stake a claim on Louie's fortune. Hello, Grace. How's it going? And I am Louie's first love from back in the day. Hello, Mavasser Numinous. Hopefully I said that correctly. So I show up. I am from Italy, and I was his first love back in Italy, way back in the day. And I am the Contessa Ilaria Sagittario. So I have to do another accent that's going to be fairly terrible. They need more pine soda. That sounds interesting. Hello, Grace. Gay. Yep. Except you have to do the hand gesture. I know you can't do it because you're in a chat, but it's gay. Very gay. Very, very gay. Pine Sol isn't good enough because it can cause medical. Yes, don't drink Pine Sol. Pine soda might be good, but not Pine Sol. So I am the Contessa Ilaria Sagittario, and not only was Louis my first love back in Italy, we fell in love under the lemon trees in Sicily, but also I have arrived with my son Luciano, who is Uncle Louis's firstborn son and the heir to his concrete business. So, I don't know why they asked me to do accents. It's not great. But I patterned it off of, I know somebody who is Italian, and her name is Chiara, and she is absolutely lovely. I adore her. She is so boisterous and fun, and she lives in Ireland, so it's all these Irish accents, and then all of a sudden you hear, now we will go to the restaurant. We will have some good food to celebrate. And that's kind of how she talks. So I hope I do her proud as the Contessa Ilaria Sagittario. My gimmick is when I show up to claim everything, then we have a lunch where we all mingle. So we have the viewing and we have the funeral, and that's where I come in and I reveal that he was my first love and that I have his son Luciano. And then we have a little pizza lunch kind of thing while we get ready for the reading of the will. And during that, I'm going to walk around and I have a box of tarot cards. And it's just a cheap deck that I got. And I'm just going to give them to people. And I just have to have enough. There's 78 cards and I just have to have enough for 2 nights. But I'm going to give people tarot cards and just give them terrible terrible fortunes and just tell them like, oh, doom is coming to you. I'm so sorry. Perhaps you should leave before the reading of the will. These kinds of things to try to like get people to like back off and let me have my money. And so I'm going to do that. And then we're going to have the reading of the will where we find out some secrets, some surprises. Nobody really knows how Uncle Louis died. And then we are going to have the celebration of life. Louis has put into his will that he would like to have a celebration of life where we all dance and drink. There's booze and broads. And if anyone happens to die, then their portion of whatever they received in the will be divided amongst the others. So there will perhaps be some murder and mayhem, a la Clue, that will be happening during the celebration of life to see who ends up becoming Uncle Louis's final heir. So very excited for that. So that is going to be next weekend. It's Uncle Louis's big sad funeral at the Empire Theater, and we are going to be having a good time. It's Friday and Saturday, so there's 2 nights for you to say goodbye to Uncle Louis and to get in on the drama and to see who survives and who is the final inheritor or inheritress. I like to believe that I will win, but you never know. These things, they come, they go, the fortune, it is all gone in the blink of an eye. You never know. So that's going to be next weekend. Now we're going to talk about some Nomad cosmetics. But before we do that, I know I said we were going to talk about it, and then I said no. I just wanted to do a little shout out because as somebody who has many creative projects, I always have side hustles and things going on the side. And as we know, I talk about my website incessantly, janessaj.com, if you want to read my writing. And so we love when a drag queen is multifaceted, multi-talented. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to a book that I just purchased off of Amazon and was delivered today. And that is this book, Relict, Old World, New Terror. This is by Cody Blotter. So Relict. So it's just like relic with a T. I had to look that up because I didn't even know what it meant. But I was like, oh, okay, that's a real word. So we have Relict by Cody Blotter. And Cody Blotter is also known as the fabulous Cara Fiera, who has performed with us for, I don't know, maybe about a decade now. So she's been around for a little while. And so we adore her, and she has a book that's coming out. At some point, Victoria Boom Boom Gotti, who is also someone that I've worked with a lot, she has a book that I need to pick up as well. Hers was not on Amazon. I have to order that through her website. I think it's like a print on demand. And so this one I could get in like 2 days. So this one I got first before I got Victoria's book, but I am going to get Victoria's as well because, you know, God willing, maybe someday I will have a book. And so I'm going to want my performer friends to flog my book just as much as I want to flog theirs. So absolutely love it when one of our performer siblings has a fabulous project that is put out into the world. So I'm very excited to read Cody Blotter's book, Relict. Yeah, so very excited about that. And Cody also does like music and stuff at one point. That's how I met Cody before he even started doing drag. He came to a drag show and he brought me his CD that he had recorded, and I thought it was kind of fun. I did a little write-up on my website about it, an old version of my website, so it's not there anymore. Someday I should tell the story of like the whole, like, because I'm on the 3rd version of my website. It's a whole crazy long story, but yeah, so Cody Blotter, Relict. Definitely check it out. It's available on Amazon with Prime shipping. Now, let's talk about Nomad Cosmetics. Let's talk about these new products. So I decided to order the new, this is the like Greek Sirens palette. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's themed around like the Odyssey and Greece and Greek mythology and all that kind of stuff. It's got this beautiful blueprint on the cover, and as you look at it, there's all kinds of like gods and goddesses, and there's the Pegasus and Odysseus's ship, and there's sirens and, excuse me, pretty girl, and all kinds of things. Yes, so is it just called the Greek Odyssey palette? So that is the new one. So here is the color story. Love this. I mean, I love blues, and when there's little hints of greens and all that kind of stuff. I was obsessed with Greek mythology when I was in elementary school. I think I was in like sixth grade, and one of our units was to do a like report on a Greek god. Like we could pick whichever one we wanted, and I couldn't pick one, and I ended up doing this. I'm such a brown noser. I'm so sorry. You're gonna hate me. You're gonna be like, oh, you were that kid, and I fucking was. Where I was like, maybe I'll just do a report on 4 different gods because I was so obsessed. So I did Demeter. So Demeter, I think I did Apollo and Artemis, the twins. And then I think I did Poseidon. So I think I did 4. I know I did 4 gods, but I can't remember exactly which ones. Except I know it was Demeter because I did like that whole Earth goddess. So early I was into that whole Earth goddess things. Now I didn't just order the palette. This is the palette. Again, I love blues. I love a good 80s blue eyeshadow moment. I'm here for it. And then these like tealish minty greens, these pops of green in the shimmer. So excited. I did decide to order the whole collection. It was a small little collection. The reason why is because of this beautiful, beautiful silk scarf, satin scarf, whatever this is. It's a nice big one. And it's got the print that's on the palette, which I think is really cool. I thought this was really beautiful. This was $24. So the palette was whatever price, and then that was $24. And then we have these 2 cheek products. Now, these 2 cheek products, I think were like $18 and $19, something like that. And if you ordered the whole bundle, you got the scarf for free. So I was like, well, these 2, so 18 and 19, that's like $36, $37. This was $24. Once I had an influencer code on top of it, it's kind of like getting it's like paying for this and getting these free almost, which is how, because I would have paid for this. I almost bought just the palette and this, and then I was like, well, I could spend almost the same amount and get 2 cheek products. Although, as we're going to see, I think they're cheek products that I don't think I'm going to love. So we're going to talk about that. My youngest son learned about Bigfoot today. It was cute listening to it. Oh, I love that. I love it. I really wanted the scarf from Nomad, but I heard you had to buy the whole bundle. No, they did have it available. I don't know if it's sold out. It might have sold out really quickly. It was available separately for $24, I believe. And so that's why I decided to just go ahead and buy the whole bundle, because I was like, it's not that much difference once you consider that it was free with the bundle. So here are the Greek Odyssey cheek products. So we do have this. This I'll maybe get some more use out of. This is like a creamy highlighter, which I think is beautiful. I think it's an interesting choice to have it pink. I don't know if they were just like a blue highlighter would be like a bridge too far to also have a blue highlighter. But it would have been perfect with that, or maybe a gold, because there's like gold tones in the palette as well. But like, it's just got this like pretty iridescent-y. It does seem to have a little bit of gold. It's almost like there's a couple different colors in here. So we do have a little bit of gold with our pink, but it's mostly pink. That's really what you kind of see is the pink. And so we have that. Now this is one that I was like, I don't think I'm gonna love this, and I'm gonna play with it. I might do a look over the weekend. Maybe we'll do a makeup play day live here on YouTube and do like a makeup play day of because this is what I'm not sure about. So this is the blush. This is the color adapting blush balm. There's so many things in this that I don't love. Color adapting, I don't like that pH shenanigans. I'm not really a fan of that. Also, things that are balms. Now that highlighter just seems like a cream highlight, but this, I have made my thoughts on balm products known many, many times. And this is like, I don't know how easily you can tell, but like this is clear. Like this part and these are both like translucent, and you can see down into the pan. The pink in the middle has a little bit more of a, like an actual color to it, but like these are sheer. So that I don't love. Let me get an actual like sponge. Do I have yeah, I think I have a clean sponge. I decluttered my Vanny Cosmetics glitters. So like if you remember this from Lucky Dip Live, this is now the home of like my special sponges. So like the weird one with the little pads, or these that I use for cream and liquid products. It's got the Real Techniques powder sponges, these like microfiber ones. So like all of my like odd sponges and also any of my powder puffs now live in this little bag. So we have I don't think I'm gonna love this. I don't think I'm gonna love this. But I haven't wet this sponge at all, but let me just try to grab some of this. I love that this does kind of look like the trans flag too, which is kind of cool. So I was like, that's kind of a fun little, I was just trying to talk myself into it because I just wanted the free scarf. But, so let's go ahead and put some of this on and just see. And of course I don't have any base or anything. Now that didn't look terrible. I mean, that went on, it's very subtle. And of course I put the highlighter on before the blush. It does look a little bit like a rash. I don't love that. I mean, I have some like discoloration on my skin anyway, so like I think it's maybe highlighting that a little bit. This would probably look a little bit better. It would look better over foundation. So yeah, I was gonna put a little, I was like, maybe I'll put foundation on this cheek. Girl, we don't have time for that. What are you doing? You'll just put it on your blotchy skin and you'll be fine. So yeah, so it's not bad. I mean, it's turning pink. That's what pH products do. They generally just turn bright pink. I don't hate it. I mean, I have to see it with other makeup because I would never just put it on like this. Like I would never just put it onto my face. Although that's not looking terrible. It just makes me look more pink. Like that's the thing, is that I already look pink and blotchy, and so when I put like a pink product like this on, it just makes me look more intensely blotchy. So it's not great. It's not great over this, but maybe we'll play with that. I was trying to decide what to do this weekend because I kind of want to play with this collection and do a look with this. And I kind of want to do a makeup test for the Contessa, which her look is going to be green with some like yellow, because I have a green dress. I have that green dress. I've worn it in a few like TikToks, and I've worn it like, I've put it on at the end of like get ready with me kind of things and like makeup play days. If you've seen me in that green kind of ruffle dress, like very green, that's the dress I'm wearing for the Countess or the Contessa. And so I'm gonna wear that, and then I have these jewels that are kind of like neon yellow and green, and so I'm gonna do green with like a little bit of like a pop of a neon yellow. The backwards dress, yes, the dress that I wore backwards, that is the one, Dawn. You have too much blush going on for your liking today. Glowy cheek. Yeah, the scarf is really pretty. I think it's beautiful. Oh yeah, I don't know what's going on. Nobody wants to talk to me until I'm live. It never happens. Yeah, you can get the scarf separately. The reason why I kind of want to play with this in the video is I have to say that like Nomad has been really responsive on my posts lately, and I appreciate it. So I'm like, I should do a look with this because like they actually respond back. Yes, so I have tried the Paris Bohème. Actually on my TikTok, not my most recent, but I've got a couple TikToks up, and I actually had posted one where I'm using Todd Recall's like hair, nails, lips, face, whatever it is. And I did that to kind of show off the look that I created. If you saw the look that I did with the strawberries, where I did the Pam Anderson lip combo, that was the Paris Bohème eye palette and the cheek palette. Excuse me. Forever known as backwards dress, yes. So yes, the Paris Bohème, I did really like it. I enjoy it. Yes, my laugh is, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I have a good time. I have a good time. I'm stained pink now, which I don't love, but that's what's happening. Alexandria, maybe add a couple more things than just the scarf, but I haven't picked up the Pacific Northwest. At some point I need to pick that up as well. But I just, like, Nomad Cosmetics has been really sweet on my posts, and like they've been like commenting on stuff, and like if I post a story and tag them, they've been watching my stories. And so I just, again, like, I love to show appreciation to brands, because I try to use a lot of different brands and stuff, and when I tag brands, I'm watching, like, I'm paying attention. We're all, I get that, like, it's fun to play with and I love to do all this stuff, but that's also free advertising. And so I think, you know, not that anybody is entitled to anything, but I also am like, I feel like I'm going to put more support towards the people who also support me back. Like, you know, liking something is free. It takes a half a second. Sending a little thank you message, all of that stuff is definitely appreciated. And I have to say that most recently, like, I do get a fair amount of, like, I do get little, like, likes and hearts and things like that. But I feel like lately Nomad has been, like, the most responsive. And I've been loving their stuff, and I've loved their stuff for a long time. So it's easy to, like, to play around and want to do that. So I love it. Dawn didn't want Paris at first. I want it now. I like it. I think it's better. I feel like it's the better version of, I bought that Disney, like the Euro Disney Princess Castle, whatever that thing was. And I liked it, but it was a little bit, the colors didn't blend the way that I wanted to. And I feel like Paris Bohème, I feel like I got a better blending of colors. I got more of what I was looking for. I did my first look with the palette on Monday, but then I had to go on a trip. Oh, yes. So did you like it, Janet? Did you enjoy the Paris Bohème? They may send you, I would love that. If they wanted to send me PR, I would absolutely use it. I usually end up with most of their launches. I don't know what it is. Like, now that they've been doing little collections, I'll, like, go on and order a little collection. But there's something about just ordering one palette. Maybe this is just my shopaholicness showing, but I usually wait until there's, like, one or two palettes, like a couple palettes, two, maybe three, and then I'll, like, go and buy them all at once and get, like, a little mini haul of, like, Nomad. Now that they do the little collections, it's easier to be like, oh, I get a little group of things. There's something, I don't like to just buy, like, a single item. Again, it's probably my shopaholicness, but also, like, it feels a little bit extra to just be, like, ordering one thing. I like to be like, well, if I'm going to make them send it, and I like to get free shipping, and so I'm like, if I'm going to make them send it, let's get a few little things. That's just my justification. I'm a monster, but I would love it if they would send me PR. That would be fabulous. Exactly. Nomad is awesome. They respond. I really love that. They sent me a palette one once, but it wasn't. Yes, that was the one thing that, like, it was the Ireland palette, that Wild Atlantic Way. When I got it, there were two shades that for whatever reason the glue didn't hold, and so they popped out. Nothing broke, nothing was whatever, and I wasn't even going to say anything. And then Dion was like, hey, you should let them know anyway, because you know, that's a production defect. Maybe other people are experiencing that, and so you should let them know just so that they know, like, how widespread it is or whatever. And so I wrote to them, and I was like, I sent her pictures. I was like, these are the two shades that it affected. I said, everything's fine, nothing broke. I've got a ton of glue sitting around. I just glued them back in. It's fine. And she was like, are you sure? Like, I can send you a new palette. And I was like, don't even worry about it. Because she was ready to send me a new palette. And I was like, you don't have to send me a new palette because two things came unglued. There are people out there in the world that would, like, insist on that. And I'm like, you can't even tell. If you look at my palette, you cannot tell, because I just glued them back in place. Like, and so I was like, you absolutely do not have to send me another palette. I just wanted to let you know so that you would be aware. That was my very first experience. I love them, and Sydney Grace has amazing. Yeah, I've ordered a few times from Sydney Grace. I don't know about their customer service because I've actually just had good experiences when I've ordered from them. I haven't had anything like come broken or anything, so I haven't actually worked with their customer service, but I've had good experiences when I've done. So, let's see. First experience, I love them. The Paris spout seems cool toned and lighter. Yes. Let me grab, okay, so here is the Paris La Bohème. And here you can see it's a little bit more muted, and it's got more, instead of like browns as the neutrals, like it's got a gray, it's got these more like earthy kind of tones. It's got a couple blues, much more of like a pink kind of color story. And let me grab the castles, what is this called? Fairy Tale Europe. Disney Princess. What am I talking about? Who knows? I never even know. So this is the like Fairy Tale Europe. And here you can see, oh, this is maybe, yeah, it was these browns. I was working with these and I just didn't have a great, it didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. They didn't blend together the way that I wanted, but Order a couple things. Unless I'm scared it will sell out, then I'll buy one thing. They're fantastic with customer service. Absolutely. I love Nomad. Lets us know that it isn't limited edition. I like that too. Does the Paris palette pull more cool toned? Yes, we'll take a look at those. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up now because I think people have been chatting. Alexandria, I don't have it yet. Maybe next month. Hey, bestie. Hey, China. YouTube notifications are a garbage fire lately. I don't know what is going on. It is insane. That's why I want it though. I'm just a pale vampire and I need cool and lighter tones. Yes. Let's see. I won Royal Europe. That's different, right? Yes, Royal Europe. I have that one up there too. So let's look at, so this is Fairy Tale Europe. And can I do this with one hand? Let me get, and then this is Paris La Boheme. So you can see there are some similarities, especially like they both have some pinks. But yeah, you get more of like those greens. There's that swampy green in Paris that's very different. So there are some like similar shades, but I think that yes, this one has more like brights and it's like little pops of brights. This one I feel like, so this is something that I often feel about different palettes, and I felt this about specific Nomad palettes as well, is that like this one feels less like a color story to me and feels more just like colorful. And there are some palettes that like this one, not entirely, but I almost feel like it feels more like confetti. So like, I feel like there's, you know, there's this row of neutrals along the bottom. We've got a couple pinks and this kind of red. We've got a couple blues, a couple purples. And so it's more like a scattering of colors, and like you can use the neutrals with any of these like little pairings and stuff. But it's less of a like, let's take any like 3 or 4 shades or whatever. It's a little bit more of, we've got some kind of individual colors or maybe pairs of colors, and then we've got neutrals that you can kind of pair all of them with. And that's what I tried to do. I tried to use some of the pinks with the like neutral browns, and I just didn't love what turned out. Is it most shimmers? This one has a lot of shimmers. So this one, only the bottom row, only these are the mattes. So you could bring in mattes from somewhere else, or if you just do like a one and done or 2 shimmer shadow kind of look, you could do just the shimmers. But if you like to pair mattes and shimmers, these are the mattes. Everything else here is a shimmer. So that's another thing that makes it a little bit different as well. Then we have the Paris Boheme, and so here we have the purpley pink section is this 9-pan set down here. This is all of the like purpley pinks, and then we've got more like green, blue, that swampy. This is kind of like a little 9-pan situation. So the other one is like neutrals that you can add shimmers to. This one is much more of like almost like 2 9-pans captured together. This one also kind of reminds me, I think when I first unboxed this, I showed it with the Verona, the Romeo and Juliet one. That's like the 2 pieces that open out. That one was like pink and red, and then like other colors more like this. So it was definitely different, but had more of the same kind of feel of like a 9-pan here and a 9-pan here. So that's kind of the different. Yeah. Yes. So we have a lot. We have a lot of Nomad. So where is the? So Dawn, I think this is the one that you won. This is the like Royal Europe. And this is the one where they first did like multi-chromes. So they've got 2 sets of mattes, and these are kind of in little like coordinated trios, where you can use the like 2 mattes and the shimmer together. But these have like multi-chromes. And so this one, you can kind of see how they shift. This is a really beautiful palette. But yeah. So hopefully that was helpful, Alex, if you were wondering about the difference between those 2. That's why I chose Polar Express in the giveaway, the artwork. Yep. That's it. I need to try it out more. Yep. Yes, you definitely should. Where did the Verona one end up? Yeah, so this is the one. This is the Verona Amour et Mort. Language stuff. I'm not very good at it. But here you can see this is kind of another one of these like that's almost like 2 9-pans. but it's like pink and red on this side, and then we've got like purple, blue, gray over here. So the colors aren't exactly the same, but it's got a similar kind of feel, where this one feels to me, not that you can't, I mean, you can do whatever you want, right? Like, there's no rules, it's just powder, you wash it off. But like, it seems to be designed to be like a 9-pan, and that's kind of what they were doing with this one as well. So this one is all like pink red on one side, and like purple, blue, black, gray on the other side for the death and then the love. Whereas Paris Bohème has like pinks and then a little bit of purple, and then on this side we have more like green, blue, swampy, foresty kind of colors. Yeah, I like these. I'm a big fan, and so I've really been loving playing with Nomad Cosmetics. So holy shit. This is that sponge that I used for the pH blush. What is on this sponge? That it made it go purple. What does that mean? What pH is that reacting to? What is happening? I just looked down and saw that, and I was like, I don't know. I get the use. It's just not for me, right? Like, these pH balancing, this is for somebody who wants to swipe on just a little bit of sheer blush, have a little bit of color to the cheek, maybe some mascara, and run out the door. That's who this is for. You know, there's probably other people that like it for different reasons. This is never going to be for me, right? Like, I am doing big, theatrical, structured makeup. And so I want to pick my blush colors. I'm going to use 6 of them, but I want to pick them. Like, I don't want to have to, like, rely on whatever this is going to be. Like, whatever this is going to be. Like, I don't want to have to, like, I mean, not that there's ever much to worry about, because it always just kind of turns pink, but dinner ready, gonna put you on to it. Well, thank you for stopping by. Yeah, it is, Dion, it is nuts how this changed the sponge color. Yeah, that's wild. Look at that, that's a crazy color. And there's a lot of it in the sponge. It's very balmy. It's that balmy, like, I just don't like that. Yeah, and look at how, like, the makeup wipe just looks like neon pink. I don't mind a neon pink blush, but I want to pick a neon pink blush. Hello, Mama Champagne. You've been talking on the phone. Who you been talking to? What's going on? Share all your secrets. Tell us what you've been up to. Mama Champagne was just here this weekend. We had a nice visit. That's another reason why I haven't been on live as much, because I've had visitor in town. So yeah, so we had a good time. We did some rock shopping, watched some questionable movies. We always watch weird, questionable movies. I finally saw Happy Birthday to Me, which is this like slasher from the 80s. I might do a video on that one because it is a little bit wild. We also watched a weird documentary. I have so many feelings about it. I may end up writing something for my website because I can't stop thinking about it. And not necessarily in a good way. Like, it's very troubling and very odd. So I don't know that I love it. Yeah, so it's very strange. It's very strange. Yeah. So that's what's going on. So yeah, we've only been here 38 minutes. It's a night for short lives. I don't have much else to say. Just that I've missed chatting with people, so I thought, let's come on live. And I am still working on getting Made by Mitchell ready to go. So I do have the, because I have 2 Made by Mitchell videos that I need to get finished, and I want to get them both finished before I start posting, because I don't want to say I'm going to have both of them and then they don't both get done. So I'm like pushing myself. So I started with the one that I want to release second, which is the Get Ratchet With Me of Made by Mitchell products, and then I'm going to work on the Made by Mitchell brand review. And so we're going to have those, and then pretty girl, then we're gonna have a live declutter. And so Well, I don't have to leave. We can chat a little bit more. I mean, I always say I'm going to leave, and then there's like the long goodbye. It's a very like Midwest goodbye of like never ever actually wrapping up and getting to the point. We did have fun. I guess I'll have to catch the replay. I was talking to your brother, by the way. Oh, well, I hope he's doing well. Yeah, I guess that's okay. I mean, that's fine. I guess you can also talk to my brother. Even though I'm having a live, and it's clearly very important. But yeah, so we had a good time. And have you swatched the new? Oh no, we could do a little swatching. That could be fun. I haven't swatched it, but I did take the pictures, so I could. Do you like your brother? I do like my brother. We're not super close, but I do like him. We're not always very close as children. We definitely did not always mix well as kids, but we are fine now. And so, yeah. Swatches, yes, we can absolutely do some swatches. Let me just put away some of the like 50,000 other palettes that I grabbed out. Because I have a whole drawer, and it's on the top, and it sticks sometimes. So we have some, let's go ahead and do, I mean, obviously we have to do a few of this, the shimmers. So let's do, I mean, let's just do all the shimmers for sure. So let me just pick some. Is this content? You just watching me like swatch, waiting for me to actually show them? So we are doing Calypso, Circe, and Athena. So that is the first row up here. And here are the swatches. So we have Calypso, Circe, and Athena. My brother and my mom do not get along, so I rarely see them. I'm sorry to hear that. All right, so those are the first three. Let me make sure I have my little makeup towelette. And I can wipe off my fingers. Then the middle row is Gaia, Helios. Okay. Gaia, Helios, and Elayon. So it's Elaion. Elayon. I don't know. I don't know what that is. All these other ones I recognize the names, but that one I do not. And now I'm switching the order that I'm doing. It's all fine. Everything's fine. I always giggle at it. Yeah, I do. And it makes me laugh. And it kind of comes from Novimpia. They're two drag queens from the UK, and I watch them. That's like my Sunday appointment YouTube. They always have a video up on Sundays, and so I always have to stop and watch them. And they were, for a while, they were on a roll of doing kind of like weird concept videos. And at some point, they would just look at each other in the video and be like, is this content? Like, well, you put it out, so I guess it is. All right, so Gaia is this one. This is Helios. And this is Elayon, that one that I don't know how to pronounce. So that's the first six. Now the bottom row is Sirens, Poseidon, and Aphrodite. Here's where we get, ooh, this first one is blue and beautiful. I'm so excited. Ugh. All right, so this one is like blue. There's also a bit of a purple flip to it. So I don't know that the like duochrome, multichrome is coming through very well, but this one is like a navy blue to purple with maybe even a little bit of like fuchsia. And I always put it on the side that doesn't show to the camera very well. So this is Sirens, Poseidon, and Aphrodite. And these are, you can kind of see a little bit of a shift. Again, when they're swatched like that, it's not. Those are beautiful. The shimmer, I'm excited to play with this. This is going to be fun. I'm not going to swatch all the mattes. Some of them are just kind of neutral, but I'll do the 2 greens, of course, because I am a monster for greens. So I'll just do the, oh, shut the front door. Okay, hold on. Hold on, we're coming. We're coming. So the lighter one is Ithaca. And then the darker one, the more teal, is Peloponnese. Look at those. Look at those. I swatched that one. That lighter one is so thick and beautiful. Like, it just feels so creamy when you put your finger into it. And then I accidentally got some of the shimmer mixed in with this one, so it's making... I was like, why does it look patchy? Because I accidentally drug the shimmer into that, and so there's a little bit of shimmer on top. These are so... They're just creamy and beautiful. This is why, like, I love it when brands that I love just, like, do good things, and then I can, like, put stuff out, and then they, like, comment, because I don't have to, it's not anything where I feel pressured to be like, oh, well, this is okay, because I don't want to hurt their feelings. They just put out good shit. Like, this is so good. This one does, let me see if I can get another swatch. Because I feel, and maybe it looks fine on camera. To me, it's looking like it's patchy, but it's not. It's just that it's got a shimmer on top of it. And so let me put it above so you can kind of see. It's got this just like beautiful. And it does kind of sheer out towards the edges. So like when I get to the edges, but it works so well for like blending out. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I wish that I could use this for Contessa Ilaria Sagittario, but it's a little bit too, like, that dress is like green, like a real green dress that's cruel, like bare naked ladies would say. Like it's green. It's much more like froggy green, emerald green, grass green. These are much more like teal, and because I'm bringing the yellow in with the earrings, I don't think that these greens would work, because otherwise I would just do that look with this. Because I thought about doing a makeup test for that character this weekend. I thought that could be maybe the Get Ratchet with me, but now I'm like, I kind of want to play with this. And I wanted to do a blue look, but now look at these. Look at how pretty those are. Maybe we need to mix blue and green. I don't know. Yeah, they are so pretty. They are so. You are very welcome, Alex. I like doing swatches. I think they're fun. I don't know if it's really coming across. So this one right here is Gaia. And I think you're probably seeing like the kind of golden green, but there is like a pink sparkle in this. I love when they mix pink and green together. There was a glitter. Does anybody else remember? Do you remember Tony and Tina's? That was a makeup line. It was a little kind of indie one, but they sold it at like Nordstrom's. It was around the time that they used to sell hard candy polish. Do you remember when hard candy used to just be nail polish and you had to go to fancy stores like Nordstrom to buy it? Because I had one hard candy polish because I happened to get down to the cities for something, and we went to the Nordstrom, and I got a hard candy, and then I got a couple glitters from Tony and Tina, and they had one, and I forget what it was called. It was like Cosmic Love or Forever Love or something, but it was a mix of like mint green and baby pink, and it was so fucking pretty. And I don't know why more makeup brands don't mix pink and green, because I just think it's such a fun, interesting combination. I love pink and green together. And I feel like you're not getting any of the pink. Maybe if I get a little closer, you can maybe see a little bit. Oh, it's so pretty. I was swatching the wrong place. There we go. Yeah. Oh, I am loving this. I'm very excited. Let me do a little cleanup here. Clean up on aisle 7. Maybe we'll swatch the blue mats. Maybe that'll get me inspired. I did only swatch the green ones, so of course I'm one of those people that I'll be like, oh, this is my favorite thing ever, and then you just show me something else, so I'm like, that's my favorite thing ever, and then I see something else, I'm like, no, that's my favorite thing ever. So maybe if I just swatch the blue ones, that will put me back into the mood to do like a blue look, because I can always do blue with the blue mats and the blue shimmers, but then put a pop of like one of these other ones in to make it interesting, right? So it doesn't have to be all blue, but I think I want to keep it majority blue. So I've got this makeup wipe, and I'm gonna add some, I'm gonna make a mess apparently. But I'm going to add in some micellar water from Blend Bunny, their Vanishing Act micellar water. And we're gonna just wipe it down because it comes off pretty well. I do like that micellar water. It just, especially when you've got a lot of glitter. There might be a little bit of glitter, but not very much. And like a little bit of like greenish staining, but again, not very much. I am pretty impressed. Thank you so much for all the fun. I have to go to bed for work tomorrow. Sucks being. I hear ya. I hear ya. That was one of my TikToks for today. If you don't follow me on TikTok, at Janessa J. But one of my TikToks was just me back and forth. I did that. Is it Fifth Harmony that did work from home? And so it's just the part where it's like, you don't gotta go to work, 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 work. But you gotta go to work, work, work. And I'm like, this is my argument in my head every damn day, where I'm like, you don't have to go to work. And they're like, yeah, you probably do have to go to work. And I'm like, no, you don't have to go to work. And then it's like, you remember how you like things like rent and electricity? You have to go to work. Like, that's where that comes from. Like, that's why you can buy pretty things, is because you go to work. You are not, in fact, independently wealthy, and so you do actually have to go to work. I keep hoping. I haven't been playing the lottery, so I don't know when I think my lottery dream is going to come true if I haven't actually been buying tickets. But I keep hoping, somehow, magically. Maybe I'll find a ticket on the street. I should start playing the lottery a little bit here and there, just to hedge my bets, just to hopefully. I've also thought about just writing letters to billionaires and just being like, you wouldn't even miss it. You could give me $100 million to just live my life and make art. It's chump change. You wouldn't even miss it. You're gonna make that back in a week. Like, come on. My secret dream. So can I tell you what my secret dream is? I mean, I would still do YouTube and I would still make content because I would need other things to do. But if I were to, that's my like latest, I always have secret lottery dreams of like, what would I do? And my most recent secret lottery dream, if I won the lottery and had like a big amount of money, is I would buy a big house. It doesn't have to be like new and fancy, but I would buy like a big house so I'd have room. And I would want to make sure that I have a yard that I could like fence in and do some different things. And what I would want to do is I would want to adopt senior cats from like rescues and the Humane Society or whatever. And just because like senior cats are much less likely to get adopted than like kittens or younger cats. And so sometimes like these senior cats, and I see them on TikTok, and I am a soft touch, and fucking TikTok will have me just like crying my eyes out because there'll be some like 13-year-old cat like just sitting in a cage looking sad. And what I would do is I would just like adopt senior cats, and like as many as I could handle, where if they didn't get along, we could even maybe have like separate parts of the house for different cats if we had to like split them up. And I don't know, there could be peacemaker cats that like go back and forth, and we'd have like catios that go out through windows and stuff. And I would just, because all that kind of stuff, the thing is that like, I would want to give them like a good home for the end of their lives, you know, whatever amount of time they have left, just give them like a home with lots of attention and lots of cuddles and lots of love and attention. But old cats get sick and it's expensive. And so like, that's why I'm like, if I won the lottery, that's what I would do, is I would just... And then, because that's sometimes like people, I get it, like I love animals, but there are sometimes where people are like, my cat had to get a surgery so they could live 6 months longer and it costs $10,000. And I'm like, girl, for 6 months? 6 months? I love animals. I do love them. I would love a pet. They are a part of your family. I get it. But some of that stuff where people are like $10,000 for like 6 months, and I'm like, I couldn't do it. But that's why if I won the lottery, I could do it. And I could be like, you need a surgery to live 3 extra months? Let's go, baby. Like, let's make it rain at that vet's office. Like, let's do it. And so, yeah, pet care is so expensive and it's so ridiculous. And it's just like, and so that I would just love to be able to become a crazy old cat lady. Like, oh, I would get like cat sweaters, like like embroidered cat sweaters and shit. Like I would get real weird with it, like real weird. And just have these like senior cats that just live happy lives, and like whatever, like it would just be like cat beds, and I would have like one room that could be my like YouTube room or whatever, and then like everything else would just be like cat areas. And I'd probably have to block off, like I'd probably have to have like a drag room, so it'd have to be big enough that I could have a little bit of room for me, but also that most of it would just be like, and like all of the, I mean, I would want stuff where they could, I love when people put up like those shelves that they can like run around and go all over and different kind of stuff. And so I would absolutely love that. Now, senior cats, I don't know how much like jump, but I think, you know, they wouldn't have to be like on life support for me. Like I would adopt them when they're just older, like when they're like 10 years older, you know, so they still have some years and they might still be jumping and doing some of that. We'd have smaller jumps between the shelves so that like the older cats, if they'd be wider shelves. So if they still wanted to do that, they could hop around, and we'd also have things closer to the ground if they just wanted little cat trees and little steps up to the couches and the beds if they had like sore legs or whatever. And just like, I would love that. Can I live with you to help care for the cats? We'll have one of those like mother-in-law cottages, and you can come and help with the cats. And then yeah, and the house I stay at has those stepping shelves all over the wall. Yeah, I think that's so fun whenever I see that, where people are like creating these like fun, because that's what I would want. That's the reason why, I mean, I live in a place where technically I can't have pets. Now, I have rented from it's an individual property manager. I don't go through like a big company. I've rented from her. I think I've been in the house that I'm in going on 14 years. And my ex-husband and I rented from her for like 7 years before that. 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years. I forget, because we were going out before we moved into that spot, but then we moved into that, and then we got divorced, and I moved out like a year later. So maybe like 6 years total we were in that house or whatever. But so I've rented from her for over 2 decades, or close to 2 decades, somewhere around there. And so like, I think if I really was like, hey, you know that I don't smash things up and whatever, like if I wanted to get a pet. But I spend, as we all know, Dawn, you always clock it, I'm always in the office, right? And so like, and then I think, well, then I could get 2 cats, because then they could keep each other company or whatever. But I'm like, I don't want to get cats so I can leave them alone in my house. I also have too many knickknacks. And then I start watching TikToks of like cats just causing chaos and knocking shit off shelves. And I'm like, it would be a war zone in my house. I have so many knickknacks and so many little like random things, they would just cause problems. So that's why I've never gotten a pet. But we would definitely just I would have to have my own little spaces that were like locked up, where I could have all my tchotchkes, and the rest of the house could just be like cat playland. Yeah, the videos of cats being like awful, it reminds me sometimes when I get really like sort of like, oh, but I would love a cat, then like the universe provides, and like one of those will come up on my TikTok, and I'm like, no, I'm good. Yeah, they would have a heyday in my house. That would be a lot. This is how I know the world actually isn't flat. The cats would, exactly. And my friend Angie is kind of a cat lady, and they're getting a new baby very soon. Very excited, because they can have 2 cats at their place, and one of their cats passed maybe like 6 months ago now. And so they've been talking about it, and they finally found one. They're getting she almost looks like a little Siamese. She's a little like cat. These people like found a pregnant cat and like took her in, and she gave birth, and now they're trying to get rid of the kittens and stuff. And so they're taking one of the kittens, and she's super cute. But like my friend Angie had this cat named Zoe, and it just tickled me, because what Zoe would do is that Zoe would like jump up onto a shelf, sit next to something, and then would like meow really loudly until Angie would come in the room, and then would like lock eyes with her and knock shit off a shelf. And I'm like, that's the most like boss bitch move that I have ever heard. She was so naughty like that, and it made me laugh so hard that she would just like meow, 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 and Angie would be like, what's wrong? And then she would come out into the room, and the cat would be like, and then like knock shit over, and then go hide somewhere. It was so funny. Oh my God, it was the best. I love that cat. Zoe, Angie's cats are always cute, and I live vicariously through her cats, so I get my fill of cats. And like, if they go on long trips, I go and like check on. They have like an automatic feeder, but I go and make sure that it's not. And when Skittles, their cat that passed away, when he was getting older, I would go and make sure he hadn't pooped all over and like clean up little messes and stuff like that. And clean out the litter box if they were gone for a long time. But yeah, I live vicariously through her cat, but that was so funny, so funny, just like meow meow, and then would knock it over. It was so purposeful, like you could not mistake it for anything else other than she like picked her target, jumped up on the shelf, and then wait for Angie to come in the room and like wait to like see her, and would wait until she could lock eyes and then knock it over. And I think that's great. So my ex-boyfriend, Sieber, had this beautiful, beautiful cat named Tarek. He was so cute. And a couple times while we were dating, whenever he would go on like trips, like he would go to like a conference or something, there was like 2 different times where he was gone for like a week. And so Tarek came to live with me. And he was such a little grumpy face. So he kind of like, Grumpy Cat had nothing on him. Like he had this little like, not even just grumpy, but like look annoyed. Like he just looked as if he was annoyed with you, as if you were wasting his time. He was very sweet. He didn't like a lot of people, but he did kind of warm up to me because obviously he was stuck with me for like a week at a time. And so cats, they don't know. They're just like, maybe I live here now. I guess I better eventually start warming up to this idiot because this is the one that's giving me my food now. But whenever the 2 times that he came over, like the first day and a half, he would always like hide from me. He would always just like hide under my bed. Like he would be kind of near me, but he would like hide under my bed if I was in the bedroom and like when I was sleeping and stuff. And he would, you know, if I was in the living room, he would be kind of across the living room in a spot where he could like watch me. But if I got up, then he would like hide under the couch and all this kind of stuff. And it would take like 2 days. And usually when I would come home from work on the second day, I just remember, and one time I took a picture because he looked it was so funny because he looked like so defeated because I caught him on my bed where I sleep. He was right next to my pillow and he was just like all cuddled up next to my pillow. And I came in the room and I was like, I knew you loved me. And he was just like, and after that he would sit with me on the couch and let me pet him and he would bump his head up against me. And so then we bonded. And so at one point he lost so many, Sieber would bring over so many cat toys for a week. And then we were lucky if we could find half of them. And then over the next like couple weeks, I would keep finding cat toys and I would bring them back to him. And there was this one that was like one of his like favorites. And after Sieber moved, I found this little goldfish. He had this little like shiny goldfish that had been like way under my couch. And so I found it. So now he's sitting, because now Tarek has passed as well. But like he's sitting in a little dish on one of my shelves. I have the little goldfish that Tarek had. So he was such a cute cat. But I am such a cat person. Dogs are okay. I just don't like that. I mean, unless people wash them like every day, they just smell like dog. Like I love that you can pet a cat and you don't get like a pet smell on your hand. I don't like that. And I don't like the slobbery. Like I don't want dog saliva. But I like dogs. I mean, I'm not one of those monsters that's like, I'm a cat person, I hate dogs. I like any animal better than most people. So I'll always take an animal over a random person. But I do prefer cats. I like it. I'm so much like a cat myself. And I'm just like, ugh. I feel like there's something with the reason why I like cats better than dogs. And some cats are different. I haven't seen very many, but every once in a while you'll see a cat that's really needy and like really clingy. But like dogs are just like, love me, love me, love me. And they're just always in your face. And like, and I'm like, stop. And cats are just like, oh, are you still here? Oh, are you here? Why? I'm busy with naps and things that don't involve you. Why are you still here? Good, still love you. Well, thank you, Blackfeet. I love you too. I appreciate you for being here. Hey, my dog smells neutral, but he does drool all over the floor. Yeah, And your dog is so cute because your dog is always in your Instagram photos. And I think dogs are so cute. And sometimes I do have, now my house is tiny. The place I live is tiny, would never work. But if I was ever to have a dog, ironically, and it makes no sense, but I would want a big dog, like a Saint Bernard, a big, fluffy, like Barkley from Sesame Street dog. Like that's what I want, because I just want to nap with them. I want a big, like 90 pound, 100 and something pound, big Saint Bernard, where I would have to like he would have to have his own recliner, and just like it would be a whole mess and it would never work in my house. But I just love the idea of that. That's another idea I had. I was like, that would be a perfect business of, like, what if you had a doggy daycare? Hear me out. Some people might be creeped out by this, but you just have to go with it. Is, what if there was a doggy daycare and you could charge less, so it would be a little bit more affordable. And so then you would have a big, like, outdoor space, and you would run the dogs around so they get really, really tired. And then when they're tired, the other half of the business is that if people wanted to just come take naps with big fluffy dogs, they could come take naps with big fluffy dogs and just like cuddle up to Saint Bernard. Oh my God. How perfect would that be? Like, it's a win-win. So you would have to know, like, you're going to pay a little bit less. It's going to be a little bit more affordable, but strangers are going to nap with your dog. And so, yeah. Oh, JK, you're so clever with your word games. Are you thinking that I am somehow unaware? Gay. Clearly gay. Clearly gay. Yeah, the only problem is a lot of my ideas work much better in my head than they ever would in the real world, because I think that there are potential for problems, and pervs would find out about us and it would probably get us shut down fairly quickly. But I like to believe that people would just come in with good intentions and just like nap with puppies. Oh, are you kidding? Oh, are you kidding? How cute would that be? And it just fulfills a desire that I have to want to, like, take naps with a Saint Bernard. Can you imagine, like, not to be too gross, but like, I feel like a big dog like that would just be like picking up human shit. Like, they're taking big dumps. It's gonna be just like a person. And so, like, I just imagine, we have cat cafes. There was a cat cafe in Seattle, and I never went into it. Let's see, that's not bestiality. Taking naps with them is not bestiality, where you're just laying down. I mean, if you own a dog and you lay down and your dog comes and lays on you on the couch, is that bestiality? Get over yourself. My pup won't even sleep with my husband. Oh no, that's the worst. Like, that's what they're there for. It's like, I'm providing you food and shelter. You have to provide me cuddles. Yes, there was a cat cafe in Seattle, but I've heard that, like, at cat cafes, they're like very strict about, like, you can't pursue the cats. Like, you come in and you have your little coffee or whatever it is that they're serving, and if the cats choose you, then the cats choose you. I do not like to wait to be chosen when I'm around that many adorable cats. I would just be like, I would just gather them all. Like, I would just be like, oh, I'm sorry, you all now are in my arms. I just have to snuggle all of you. So I would probably get banned from the cat cafe. So I haven't gone into a cat cafe, because I don't know that I would be very good at respecting the rules. I've also heard, I saw a TikTok of someplace in Japan, they had a capybara cafe. I'll see your cat cafe and raise you a capybara cafe. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. I think capybaras are so cute. They are so cute. Be a unicorn or a capybara from Holland. I don't know what that is, but Novimpia uses this cutaway all the time that shows a picture of a cake, and I think it's supposed to be a unicorn cake. And there's this song about, could be a unicorn or a capybara from Holland. I don't know if anybody else has heard that or if it's just in my crazy brain, but every time I talk about capybaras, that's what I think of. I haven't been to one. I just passed on the way. Yeah, I haven't been either because I'm worried I'll get banned. My brother sent pics from Thailand of a hedgehog cafe. I know somebody who's obsessed with hedgehogs. She would love that. She has to go the next time she's in Florida. Oh, a capybara cafe. Yes. If I I don't really travel for work anymore. But I did love Seattle. I would love to plan a trip back to Seattle sometime. And if I did, I think if that cat cafe was still there, and it was right near, so it's on, I would always stay at the Homewood Suites on Pike, which was great. It was perfect because if I walked down the hill from the hotel on Pike Street, one block down was my favorite restaurant in the entire world, which is Dewat Bar and Grill. It's an Indian restaurant. Not only the best Indian food I've ever had, it's the best food I've ever had. It's the best restaurant. It's my favorite in the entire world. It's so good. So I can go down there. There was a theater, the ACT Theater. It's a contemporary theater, so you don't really have to say theater. It's the ACT. But I loved the ACT, and I would go down, and like one block over would be like the flagship Sephora. And then there was a little mall that used to have P.F. Chang's, but the last time I was there, it had closed, and I was very sad. And there's a Daiso, which is like a Japanese like $1.50 store that was on the second floor. And hello, Fabulous Joe. Nice to see you. And then if you went down like 10 blocks from my hotel, you made it to the fish market. So you could go to the fish market. In the evenings, you could go to the Can Cabaret, which is like a burlesque show. And all this kind of stuff. And then if you went up the hill, that's where that was Capitol Hill, and that was where all the gay bars were. There was Hot Mama's Pizza, there was Cupcake Royale, Doghouse Leathers, and there was the Cat Cafe. And one time when I was walking back to the hotel from getting Hot Mama's Pizza, I just randomly, this storefront all of a sudden had appeared where there was a tarot reader, and I had the most insane tarot reading of my life, of my entire life. I am a tarot reader myself, and like here's my thoughts on like psychics and tarot readers and empaths and all this kind of stuff. I really do believe that all of us have some sort of like intuitive, I don't want to say gifts. It sounds really woo-woo, and it is kind of woo-woo. I'm the least woo-woo of my woo-woo friends. I have the most Scully in me, like the most skeptic, but I do have some woo-woo tendencies or whatever. And I think with any kind of medium, intuitive reader, intuitive work, whatever, to me, I think that if you can understand, like if you go to a reader, if you can understand like 65% of what they're saying, if you can like figure out what it means, because whatever's out there, whatever you believe in, whether it's God or Allah or the universe, creator, spirit, whatever you believe is out there, whatever you believe is happening, whatever your particular cosmology and worldview is, I recognize that when I go to some sort of intuitive reader, whatever is out there is giving information or messages to this person who doesn't know me. It's being filtered through their consciousness and then through their words to me. So I'm not going to understand 100%, right? Like it's not necessarily all going to make sense. And so if I can place like 65% of what they're saying, I consider that a good reading. If I can at least get that far, like sometimes it's more or whatever, as long as I can hit that like 60 to 65, I feel comfortable that I've spent my money wisely. I've gotten this reading, I've gotten a perspective, whatever information I've gotten from this feels like it's useful and feels like it's worth what I paid for it, right? I went to this tarot reader, and it was the weirdest reading I've ever had. So he offered like 3 levels. And it was so weird because it was this like storefront, and for some reason, I think maybe to block the sun, he had this big like set of like those really thin like blinds that come down. So it's not like blinds like with the individual bars or whatever, but it's like some kind of screen kind of blind. And he had that down over the window, but also went into the doorway. And so I had to like crawl under this thing. It was like, it covered half the doorway, so I had to like duck underneath to get into the store. And then there was just nobody there. Hey, Lewis, how's it going? Welcome. Hello, Angel. Hello, welcome. Hello to everybody that's dropping in. Angel Hernandez, welcome. Wall F. Marie. I don't know what that means, but is that like the name, like is that what the blinds are? Is that? And so I went in, like, because I don't know what they're called, but they're like, it's like little stick blinds. Do you know what I'm talking about? I feel like they're very 70s. But he had this like blinds thing, and so then he was in like a back room, so I had to be like hello, and then he came out, and he offered like 3 levels. So you could either do like the bottom level was like palmistry, was maybe like $70, tarot was $90, And then like a full medium experience was $120, something like that. And I was like, well, I read tarot cards. I'm most familiar with tarot cards. So I was like, let's do tarot. So I did like the medium one or whatever, which also came with some like palm reading. Like you got that as part of the tarot reading. So it wasn't like you chose. I think as you went up, you got all the things or whatever. If I had known that, I probably would have gone with the top level. Because let me tell you, when I went for that reading, I was going through it. This is when I was still in my training job. This is when I was traveling all of the time. I was a trainer for about 6 years. And when I tell you that I traveled a lot for that job, there was at least 1 year where I know that I spent more nights in hotels during the year than I did in my house. There was at least 1 month where I like wrote a check and like sent it in the mail and did not set foot in my house for that entire month. So like that's where we were at. So it was a lot of traveling. Now this was towards the end of that role, and I was in Arizona. So I went to a few different places, but the main places that we went, that we had sites where we did training, was either Seattle or Tempe. Seattle, wonderful. Tempe, not as good. And they had this leadership team that was kind of a problem. Doesn't really matter. Let's just say I was at the point of almost quitting my job. Like we were in like crisis mode. Things were not going well. Things were just bad. There was all this leadership stuff going on. It wasn't good. So I was in, and this is how crazy like the travel schedule was, because I got picked to be part of this like focus group thing. And so they're like, we need you to fly to Seattle for 3 days. And I was like, but I'm already in Arizona. Like I'm on a work trip in Arizona, and you want me to fly from Arizona to Seattle? And they were like, yes. And then I thought about it, and I was like, does it get me out of Arizona for like 3 to 5 days? Done. I'll go. So they got somebody, like I had been flown in to teach this class. They got somebody to cover my class for 3 days so that I could go to Seattle for this workshop thing, for this focus group. And let me tell you, it was like Monday, Tuesday, and I flew back on Wednesday. Can I tell you the way that I flew out like Friday night? I was just like, I got as late of a flight on Friday as I could go so that I could be in Seattle that whole weekend. I was like, they're paying for me to be in a hotel regardless. And so I was like, I might as well go as soon as I possibly can. So I like flew out Friday, maybe Saturday. I can't really remember, but I think I flew on Friday night. Like I think I really just got the hell out of Dodge. And this was like that weekend. So it was before the like focus group had started, and that's when I found this tarot reader. So I was all over the place. So we start doing the reading, and he like is looking at my palm, and he's like tracing some lines, and he's like, oh, you travel a lot. And I said, yeah, I travel a lot for work. And he's like, you used to enjoy it. And I was like, yeah, I think it's kind of fun to get to see new places. And he like stops, and he's like, no, I said you used to enjoy it. And I was like, like wig snatched. I was like, yeah. I was like, it hasn't really been great. It hasn't been great lately. And so he's like telling me this stuff or whatever. And he had this little table, and he had these tarot cards that it was like based on the traditional Rider-Waite deck. Like if you've ever seen a tarot deck in a movie, it's probably the Rider-Waite. There's an older one that they sometimes use if they want it to be extra spooky, but most of the time, the art that everybody is usually familiar with tarot is the Rider-Waite Smith deck. And he had like a version of that, but it was all just black and gold. So he starts pulling these cards 6 at a time in little rows across this table, and he just starts going, and he is like, so he's like, this is what you need to know for the next like 2 days, and he's like pulls 6 cards and is talking through it. This is what you need to know for the next 2 weeks, pulls 6 more cards. This is what you need to know for the next 3 months, and pulls like 6 cards. And then he starts layering them on top, because there was only about room for 3 rows. Then I was like, oh, is that it? This is going really fast. Then he starts down at the bottom and starts going. And he's like, this is what you need to know for 6 months. This is what you need to know for a year. This is what you need to know for 2 years. This is what you need to know for like 5 years. And so it got to like 5 or 6 years. And as he was going, I could place every single thing that he said. And like he picked up on stuff that to me is just wild, because if you read tarot cards, or if you know much about like tarot cards and stuff, a lot of times as you're reading, like I have been reading for like 2 decades. Like I've been studying the tarot for like 30 years. And so like you start to develop your own kind of associations with the cards as you like work with them and as you get familiar, and like as you do readings, things will come up in a certain way. And so there's something like Mama Champagne, if she's still here, there's something about whatever the earth suit is, so whether it's coins or stones or whatever, if the Queen of the Earth suit comes up in a reading, that's my mother. Like that's it. I'm always like, hi mom. Like there it is. Like every time it comes up in a reading, it's always something that's related to my mother. And I've just come to recognize it. When I'm going to other people for readings, I will, like, if it comes up, I'll tell them like, this is something that also is often associated to my mother. At some point, the Queen of Coins, Queen of Pentacles comes up. He just starts talking about my mom and starts talking about like things with our relationship and all this kind of stuff. He knew that I was in this like weird situationship with this guy who like was married to a man, but they had like an open relationship. And so we had this like this weird situationship because he split his time. Like he lived in Seattle, but they also had like a like winter home in Arizona. And he ran this business where he made like orthotic insoles and stuff, but like so sexy. He was so fucking sexy. And I stupid, like I knew what it was and I knew that it was like limited or whatever, but I was dumb and fell in love with him and it was traumatic and awful. But like he came up several times through the whole thing and he would like ask me questions about like, so this person that's in your life, but he's not yours. And I was like, no, that's entirely accurate. He is not mine. And he's like, but that's okay. And he's like, well, not for you, it's not okay, but it's like, okay, like nobody's sneaking around, everybody knows. And he's just like telling me shit that like is so true and so accurate. It was bizarre. I've never ever had a reading like that before that or since. I've never experienced something like that. Like it was wild. And like there's stuff that was like far enough out that now, like, and I wish I had like had the thoughtfulness to like, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know he was going to start doing this and like throwing information at me. I wish I had asked him if I could like record it, because there's so much stuff. I mean, there's something about like when I changed roles, I wasn't going to be traveling anymore. So obviously I wasn't going to be seeing this guy that I had this like situationship with because I wasn't going to be traveling. So, and there was something where he had, and it was in the timeline of when my job changed. Because I thought back to it, I was like, I think that's when he said that, because he had mentioned something earlier about this guy or whatever and what our situationship was about and how it was affecting me and all this kind of stuff. And then there was something that was down the road for like 1 to 2 years or like 2 years down the road or whatever. And it was like 2 years later when then I switched roles and I stopped traveling. And like, I forget how it came up, but we ended up, like he and I ended up chatting a little bit online. And that's when I had this realization. I was like, oh, I'm probably not ever going to see him again. Like that's, I mean, maybe I'll travel to like one of the places or whatever. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, isn't this about the time that he said that like something, because the way he had phrased it was like something was going to be definitive with that relationship. Like he didn't tell me it was like it was going to end or it was going to whatever. He said something definitive, like in 2 years, this relationship that we've been talking about, something definitive is going to happen. Like there's going to be a final kind of decision point. And I remember that so distinctly. And I like had a flashback to that reading where I was like, that's what the fuck he was talking about. He was talking about the fact that like I was suddenly going to have this realization of like, because we had this, it was like, I mean, I was a trainer and traveled for like 5-6 years. I mean, I was a trainer for 6 years. I didn't start traveling until about a year into it. But during that 5 years, like the timing just worked out. Like if I was in Arizona, he was in Arizona. If I was in Seattle, he was in Seattle. So it just sort of like worked that wherever I was, he was in that place at that time and was usually available. So like this weird like situationship that we had lasted for a long time. And it felt like, and that was why it was so like confusing in my brain, is because it like was just a like mostly physical connection, but it also just like felt very serious because it was something that was ongoing and we would chat in between visits and like it felt relationshipy, but it was never like, we never defined it like that. It was very strange. And that was part of what we talked about, was that it was very like fluid, and like my brain would get confused, and like sometimes I would like probably invest a little bit more in him than I should. And then it was like, well, 2 years from now, you're going to finally have your answer. Like, you're going to have this definitive thing. And I fucking did. I've never, if I could find that guy again, I would have a reading in a heartbeat. I would do the like top level. I would, whatever I paid, the $90 or whatever, it was worth that and more. And I've never had an experience like that before or since. I mean, it was wild, wild. Just like so on point, just perfect. So on point with everything that I had experienced, and like all this kind of stuff. And then like, again, because it went like 5-6 years out. And so that's why I wish I could remember more of it, because this would have been, God, when did that, because I feel like I had already transitioned to the new role when the pandemic happened. So I feel like this was maybe like 2018, 2019, and he went like 5 years out. So I wish I could remember, because I'm wondering if there was stuff that, like, now looking back, knowing about the pandemic, knowing about all that kind of stuff. Don, I don't know, because I don't remember there even being, I feel like he had a plastic, you know, like those little fold out things that say like, caution, wet floor. I feel like he had just a plain white one of those, and it just had some like printed sign that said tarot readings. Excuse me, pretty girl. I don't know that I ever saw like a business name. I don't know that I ever saw anything. I didn't get a card. He didn't have a card. And I just know that it was somewhere near, like, it was on the walk between Hot Mama's Pizza and the Homewood Suites. So I just know that it's somewhere in that area. And so I think it was like, because as you walk down, it was like, it would be Hot Mama's Pizza, and then there was a gay bar on the other corner, like kitty corner across. And then on the corner of the next block was like the Cat Cafe. And then I think either on the other end of that block or on the next block, there was like a store that had like pinball machines and board games. And then you would turn and you would walk past the bathhouse, Steamworks. And then then I would walk that way and get back to Pike, because this was on Pine, one street up. And then I would walk up past the bathhouse, and then I would go down Pike Street a few blocks. So like Pike and Pine would kind of diverge a little bit. And so then you would kind of walk down there. And I feel like the tarot place, I feel like I saw, because I normally just would walk past and go past Steamworks, because that was the, like, I like to walk past the Cat Cafe and the board game store, because I like to, or the board game bar. It was a bar with board games and pinball. And so it was like, but I remember seeing that sign, so I was like, ooh, I'm going to get a tarot reading. I was like, my life is a mess right now. I'm going to get a tarot reading. And so then so I think it was a block off from Steamworks. So like one block up, if you're going towards the fish market, you would turn one block before you would turn to go to Steamworks. And Dawn's on a mission. What was it next to? Yeah, I don't remember anything, because that was the block that I never walked on. That was the block that was like, I just walked past it, but because I saw that little printed sign that said tarot reading. And so I don't know anything. When was it? So this was like 2018, 2019. So it very easily, I mean, it was clearly like a hastily set up kind of shop. I mean, I hope that the business made it, but you never really know with those kinds of businesses and stuff, especially with the pandemic. So yeah, it would have been like 2018, 2019. So it's been 8-ish years, 7-8 years. Yeah, Dawn is investigating. I love it. I should try to Google map that area and just see if there's anything. Because I wonder if he does readings online. I'm sometimes a little bit like skeptical about readings online. I've done a couple and they've gone okay, but I just am always a little bit worried about it. And but that reading was so good that I'm like, I think I would consider getting an online reading from him if he does those, because it was wild. It was absolutely, I so wish that I had recorded it. I wish that I had recorded it. I've always wanted to get a tarot reading. I've always been a little nervous. What are you nervous about? There's nothing to be scared of. I think there's a lot in culture and like horror movies and stuff that try to make the tarot seem spooky. And I promise it's not. Everybody's worried about the death card. It does not mean death necessarily. It means change or transformation. Now, obviously, and I always tell people, I'm like, it means like change or transformation. We're dying little deaths all the time. Like, we're always becoming new versions of ourselves. We're learning, we're evolving. If somebody comes to me and they've got stage 4 cancer and we get the death card, I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it, right? Like, I'm gonna say this, like, this could, depending on where it is in the reading and all that kind of stuff, it could absolutely represent death, but it doesn't have to. Like, if you find a good reader that like connects with your energy and all that kind of stuff, it should be a really pleasant. It's just about giving you information and perspective that you can use. A tarot reader should never tell you what to do. Like, they should just give you information. Janet with the hard questions. Do you think if you sought it out now, it would disappoint you? I don't know. It might, because, and maybe that was just the like, maybe that was something from the universe that like I just needed that at that moment, because I was, although right now this would be the time to seek it out, because I'm in a very similar spot in my job now with how I was feeling on that Arizona trip. Like, it's a very different situation, but it's a similar feeling, and I'm like, maybe this is the time to try to seek him out and be like, let's get those cards out, let's go, because and this time I will record it and make sure that I note it down, because yeah, I wonder. And that's the thing, is maybe it's just that was the connection at that time, and maybe it wouldn't be the same. Yeah, I don't know. That is a good question. That is a very good question. Because there is always that point, right? Like, because that was such a, like, just, I mean, I don't necessarily believe in magic in a, like, Wiccan-y kind of way, but like that felt like magic to me. Like, that felt to me like some kind of magic in the world, because I mean, I was gobsmacked. I was walking back to the hotel after that reading, and I was like, my head was like spinning, like I was discombobulated, because it was, I mean, it was such an info dump, and it was so accurate. And like the things that he was pulling, because he would be talking about like, this is what you need to know for like this span of time, but always related to things that happened in the past. And the stuff that he just like came up with, again, about like, you know, my mother and this relationship and like things at work, and like, and it was so like explicit. It wasn't like when you see those videos of people who kind of like fish, like, is there someone in your life with an L, like that kind of, it was not like that. It was very like, this is a kind of thing that's related to that, like the whole thing of like, oh, like there's this guy that you really care about, and like you guys like just have this kind of fluid, casual thing. He's like, but he doesn't belong to you, but he belongs to somebody. But it's okay. Like, it's not devious. It's not underhand. Like, just like that kind of thing where it's just like very obvious. And I didn't have to tell him that I was queer. Like, he immediately was like, understood that like this was a man in my life. Because that's something that comes up too, where I have to like, and I get that, again, it's like the filter and all that, and they don't know me, but they'll just be like, is there a woman in your life? I'm like, Kesha? I don't, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I don't know. What do you mean? I will ask a question, no need to answer. Did you find someone to talk to? I still haven't, but I'm getting closer to finding what I need. Did I find someone to talk to about that reading? No, I've kind of talked about that reading, but it wasn't something that I like processed with anybody else, because a lot of it was stuff that like people, and I've talked about little bits of it with like Angie and stuff, just about like, you know, what happened and what went on in that reading. But oh, were you talking about like the EAP stuff that I was talking about, like, because my job is a dumpster fire right now? I have not talked to the people. There are people like right down the hallway that I think take my insurance, and so like I should look for somebody to talk to, but I just haven't had. I haven't. Things have just really been like a little bit crazy, and it's been like, it's been a lot. And so I'm at the point now where I'm just kind of like releasing. There's things where I'm like, I'm just gonna stop fighting these battles. I'm just gonna do what I think my job is, and like, people, if they think it's wrong, they can just tell me it's wrong, and whatever. I can't fight the battle anymore. Like, I'm trying to advocate for myself, but I'm just like, I'm just gonna do my job, because I know that I do good work. And that's the problem, is that like I have somebody who doesn't necessarily connect with me on how I should do my work. And so, but I'm also in a culture right now where they kind of don't care how you get results as long as you get results. So like I'm investing too much in like arguing with this person, and so I just need to like focus on getting the results, and if I get the results, it'll be fine. I think if they have to ask about you, they don't have the gift. I kind of understand that, but I also like when people come to me for readings, like I always tell people like I'm not LaToya Jackson psychic friend, right? Like I can look at these cards and I can tell you the like information that I'm getting, and I can tell you, and the way I do it is I approach it as like trying to build the story. So much of like how I interact with the world, how I understand the world is about stories. And so for me, because some people are very like they know the card definitions, like they know every single card in the deck, they know what the like typical meanings are, they know how to interpret it, all that. That's not me. There's a lot of cards that I know the general kind of meaning or whatever, but I also have always read with a deck where each card gives me a keyword. And then I look at like where they're located in the spread that I've decided to use, and I take the keyword, and I take the context, and I take any information that they give me, and I start to build the story. And like sometimes, I mean, that's the thing about any kind of intuitive thing, whether it's tarot or mediumship or anything, is like it took me a while because I felt like I had to be able to just know. I have no problem asking people now. Because I will just be, because sometimes I'll get something and it doesn't seem to fit the story very well, but it just like, I'll just get this like nagging in my brain, and then I'll be like, so I'll just be like, how's your relationship with your mother? Like something will come up, or I'll be like, how's your relationship with your dad? Like, tell me about this. I was like, something feels off. And I'll tell them what I'm getting. Like, I'll tell them, like, there's a lot of mother cards here. There's a lot of father cards, whatever it is. And I'll be like, I'm just getting a bad feeling. Like, I feel like something, and it usually leads in the right direction. So usually it leads in the same place that we would have ended up going probably anyway. But sometimes I'll just get something that's a little bit weird. And so I'll just ask them about it. I'll be like, tell me more about this. Tell me about what's going on. I've gotten to mystics in the past. The ones who are going off of my cues can piss off. Yeah. Sometimes you can tell when they're just fishing, and it's like, that's not, to me, it's more about like, because I'll tell people, I was like, if something isn't right here, tell me about it. Tell me that you're not feeling right about this, and we'll kind of figure out what to go. To push is what I'm trying. Yeah, because more what'll happen with me is that I usually ask people, and I tell them, I'm like, here's the deal. The cards are going to tell you about what you need to know about, whether that's what you want to know about or not. So my cards are sassy. They will just be like, oh, you wanted to hear about that? Bitch, please. And so they might be like, oh, I want to know about work. And then I immediately start getting all of this like romance stuff. And I'm like, so I'll in good faith, I'll start like, okay, let's talk about your career or whatever. And then we start walking through a couple cards, and they're kind of looking a little crossways. And I'll be like, tell me about what's going on with your relationship. Like, are you in a relationship? Are there like, is there some like trust issues? Is there whatever the like messages that I'm getting? And I'll just like start talking, because those cards, let me tell you, people come in with these plans of like, I'm not gonna ask the question that I really want to ask. I'm gonna ask them the question that I'm not embarrassed to ask about, right? That was one of the hardest things, is I needed, like, I would always forget to have Kleenexes in my room, and like, there's emotions a lot of times because people come in and they're very guarded, because there's like, who the fuck is this stranger? Like, I want something that's going to help me, and I want to know, but I'm also like private and embarrassed or whatever. And so eventually we just have to like get into like the shit, right? We have to get into it. And so I have a very like open sort of discussion back and forth of like, does this make sense to you? Does it, like, is this ringing true for you? When I ask you about this, what do you think? Like, what is that? Because the worst thing is when you're kind of like stumbling through a reading and things don't seem to be connecting, and you're like asking, and they're like, oh, I don't know. And then you get to the end and they like suddenly give you this key that like unlocks the entire reading. Oh my God, let me tell you about that reading. Let me see what CJ is saying. I'd always rather be strengthened by the truth than shielded by lie. That part, 100%. Even if it's hard to hear, and even if either was unintentional. Absolutely. And again, I'm never going to tell somebody what they have to do, but if like the cards are indicating that there's some sort of like infidelity, And like, so people ask, like, can we do, like, is it okay if my partner's in the room with me? And is it okay if my friend is in the room with me? And I just tell them, I'm like, I'm going to tell you whatever I'm seeing in these cards. I'm laying it all out on the table. If you're fine with that person hearing whatever may come up, because I'm like, I don't pick the cards, you don't pick the cards. The cards come up in whatever order they're going to come up. I'm going to read them, and if there are things that come out, if you're okay with that person hearing, they can be in the room. That is up to you. And I've had people like ask their partners to leave it like partway through a reading because they're like, yeah, I think I need to talk about this alone. And then, well, which never ends well, right? Of like, something's going on. Because I've had people like have to tell me partway through a reading that they're cheating on their partner. Not letting their, because they'll come in and they'll like, sometimes they'll even like ask about, like, is my partner doing something? And I'm like, well, I can read for you. And so let's like look through it. And I'm like, and so like we might see something that's a little bit about infidelity or, and I'm like, are you also like sneaking around on your partner? And they're like, oh, yes. And they give in. It's weird. My trip that I just returned from is my yearly therapy session for people I used to work with, and I'm ooh, interesting. I did not know that you did that, Janet. That's very interesting. I love that. Yeah. I was going to tell you about that reading. So okay. This was one of the times where this was really a lesson for me in terms of like, because when I first started reading for people, I was really nervous to like push. If I was getting a really strong thing, if somebody told me, no, that's not what it is, no, that's what, I would kind of back down because I would be like, they know best, excuse me, pretty girl. They know their lives, they know what's accurate, they know what's useful. So if they're telling me this doesn't connect, and this was one of the times where I really kind of got that message of sometimes you have to push, sometimes you have to like, or maybe ask the question a different way or whatever it is. Because I got this guy. Because this happens every once in a while, especially when I used to just like do open readings, like not even like appointment readings for clients. But there used to be a metaphysical store called 12 Houses. And, excuse me. It was called 12 Houses. And I would just go in and read for like, you know, I'd have like a 6-hour day where I'd be available. And if people came in, they came in. If they didn't, they didn't. And so sometimes you would get like skeptics. Like you would get like maybe 2 people that came in. One of them believed in it. One of them didn't. I got this guy. This like grizzled 50-something guy. It's unofficial. Just a lot of hurt people who stayed. Oh, I hear that. I've had some traumatic work experiences. So I think that's good that you're doing that, because certainly I have some work trauma that I'm hauling around. I had a boss, I don't want to get too distracted from the story, but like I have a boss that, because people will use like therapy terms and they will use like diagnostic terms or whatever very loosely. You know, like the people who like there's 3 magazines on the coffee table and they're like, oh, my OCD, I just can't stand it. And it's like, okay, calm down. Like, there are people who have like actual OCD. Like having a magazine out of place is not really probably OCD. But so I understand that people misuse that kind of language all the time. They'll use it in ways that are not really appropriate or not really. So I always have to tell people, when I say this, I need you to understand that like I'm being 100% serious, that like I am convinced. I had a boss for 2 years that I am convinced was a sociopath. And I know that people use sociopath and psychopath and all that kind of stuff like very loosely. It's in the culture to be very, I'm telling you, no, I believe this woman was a sociopath. And she did real damage. Like when she was finally booted out of the company, it took 2 fucking years. But when she was finally like let go, HR like took our team aside and recommended that we get abuse counseling. Like that's how bad it was. Like it was to the point where they weren't giving us the standard like EAP. They were like, this is the EAP, this is what's covered. You know, we would recommend like looking into like therapists who specialize in like abuse and post-traumatic stress, because we think that what you've experienced. And it's like, maybe if it hadn't taken 2 years, we wouldn't have so much trauma. But that's a whole other thing. I don't mean to do it, but my former colleague has me talk to people who are still at the company. We can thrive outside of it. Yeah, it's it gets wild. That work trauma, like people don't understand that. Like people joke about like the trauma of work, but absolutely 100% is real. Absolutely real. But yeah, so this reading, so this guy comes in, he's like a skeptic. So I was like, tell me, like, why did you come in for a reading today? He's like, oh, my old lady is sick of me and she said I should come. She doesn't even know what to do with me anymore. We've tried a bunch of things, so she thought maybe this will help or whatever. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if I even really believe in this stuff. I don't mind skeptics. I'm fine. I'm like, we're still just going to do the process or whatever. At the end, I mean, I'm going to take your money. Like, you're going to take what you want out of the session or not take it. It's going to be, this is a transaction and I hope you get something out of it. But, like, I'm not just going to give you a free reading because you're, like, not sure you believe. Like, this is a service. And so take from it what you want. And so I'm going through. So I start this reading. And so what I'm doing, so I'm doing my usual spread. So I have a usual spread that I use. It's a modification of the Celtic Cross, which is the most common like spread that is taught in like beginner tarot books and all that kind of stuff. So I'm doing the Celtic Cross. Immediately, I'm getting dad energy. I'm getting like, we've got the Emperor card. We've got a couple of King cards. We've got the Hierophant. We've got a lot of things that are just representing very strong dad energy. And so I was like, and so I'm trying to go through and I'm like, I feel like, and he's telling me that this is a reading about his relationship. And I was like, is there something about your dad that is impacting your relationship? I was like, because I'm getting a lot of dad energy here. And so I think that it's possible that like what you're dealing with, because there was some relationship stuff too, but it was immediately we're getting dad stuff, all the key like areas, the root of the problem, the obstacle card, all very dad energy. And so he's like, no, this is just me and my old lady are fighting, blah, blah, blah. So we go through almost this whole thing, and he's just everything is just like, no, it doesn't really make sense. No, I don't get it. No, I don't know what's going on. And again, because I was a much less experienced reader, and so I kind of every time I would try to like redirect of like, do we have to talk about your dad? And so no or whatever, and I'm getting frustrated, and I think he's frustrated, and so we're going and. We're almost to the end and like nothing is connecting. There's no story that's coming out of this because I just kept backing down every time he said it's not that. And I was like, let's try something new. I'm gonna wing this because I was like, what I typically do is not working. It's not connecting. So I was like, I'm just gonna, tarot intuitive work, like you listen to your intuition. That's a key part of it. So I was like, you know what? Let's just wing it. And so I pulled all the cards back together. I start shuffling and I'm just like, I'm just going to start pulling cards. And what I ended up doing is I pulled like a square. I pulled 3 cards, 3 cards, 3 cards, and then I put 1 card at the top. Let me tell you what's in these, what's laying down here. So in the 9 cards down below, there are 7 court cards. 7. So court cards are like king, queen, knight, page. My deck at the time was Knight and Page. The one I have now is Prince and Princess, but so it's like of the 9 cards, 7 of them are court cards. Now there's only 4 times there's only 12 court cards in the deck of 78 cards. 7 of them are in these 9 cards that I pulled. I don't remember what the other 2 were. I know they ended up being relevant, but I don't know. The card at the top that I pulled that's separated out, the Emperor, like the father card. Like in the deck is the father card. And as I'm looking at this is when I was like, I know that you don't think this connects, but can you just tell me a little bit about your father? I was like, everything that I'm getting is pointing to some kind of issue that stems back to the father. And I was like, a whole bunch of people just showed up in this reading. I was like, we've got 7 court cards. Once he starts talking about so he's like, well, I guess that if I think about, he's like, I wasn't really close to my dad when he died because he was like super abusive to my entire family. I have 6 brothers and sisters, 7 children. I have 6 brothers and sisters, and we've all had issues with alcohol, with drugs. Everybody, all of my siblings and we've each been divorced at least once. All this, and I was like, it's been your dad the whole fucking, this is what I mean by like when I'm reading, like my cards get sassy because I had to like go into this new place and just be like, no, we're going to talk about this. And once we started exploring it, it was all issues related to his father. His father was the core of this reading. And I had to be like, I know you're just looking for like a Band-Aid fix because your old lady is tired of you and like wants you to come to a tarot reader or whatever. I was like, this is about your dad. I was like, the issues that you're having and that you're telling me that your siblings are having. And as we like sketched it out and he told me like the birth order from the top down to the bottom, like from youngest to oldest, like the genders of the court cards matched up with the genders of his siblings. And I was just like, this isn't even just for you anymore. Like at this point, the cards are like, you all need to process this stuff with your dad. This abuse that you experienced. And like, this was not okay. You should not have experienced this. This was not acceptable. We just reconnected. So hopefully I'm still audible. So let me know if you're having any trouble hearing me. Usually if I'm people, now it's looking like it's reconnecting a couple times. So hopefully you can still hear me. But yeah, so like the birth order matched up, the genders matched up. And so finally we had this discussion about the fact that this was about his father. This was about the abuse that he and his siblings suffered that has like impacted. So I don't know what else was. I imagine something like temperance might have been on there because that's often a card that's about balance. And so if there's a lot of addiction and things like that, I think it was like major arcana card. Like I think it was once we got to that like layout and we finally just like started. Once we started actually like talking about what the issue was, we finally like made some progress. But I was like, and that was really a moment for me where like I should have pushed harder on that in the like reading, because it wasn't until I got frustrated and I was like, let me just throw down some cards. And I threw down some cards, and let me tell you, I threw down some fucking cards. Like it was, the cards were like, you guys are never gonna get this. It was just like bam, bam, bam. Let's bring everybody to the table. Let's bring everybody into the discussion. And let's just do it. Let's just hash it out. Let's shoot the shit. Let's burn some trash. And then it was, I think, really productive. And so like he certainly would not go as far as to say that like he was a believer in tarot or whatever. But like on the way, like when he had come in, he was like, I don't really think I believe in all this, but she was mad at me, and like she said if I didn't come get this reading, I'm gonna have to sleep on the couch or whatever. On the way out, he's like, there are some things that we talked about that I have never thought about that way. And he's like, I think you're right, that like I need to deal with this. And that's all I got, and that was enough. That was enough for him to finally just say like, I'm gonna deal with this. No, it was the opposite direction from the Pike Place Market. So like the Homewood Suites is kind of like right on this overpass that goes above the highway. And like if you go down the hill, you go towards the Pike Place Market, you went up the hill. So it was like, if you Google Hot Mama's Pizza and Steamworks Bathhouse, and you find them on a map, like it was somewhere on the like route in between there. That's where it was. But so like that was one of those moments where I was just like, oh, I need to listen to this and I need to pay attention to this, because that reading, it was uncomfortable. And let me tell you, I don't charge by the time. That reading must have taken an hour and 40 minutes, and I got paid $25. So, because I used to do $25 per reading or whatever. And for a while I tried doing time, but then also I was like, no, I don't like that. I was like, I need to do based on just like, let's have a reading. But now I can plan for that of like, let's just have a reading. I'm going to charge you for the reading. It's going to depend on how many questions you have. It's going to depend on all that kind of stuff. Because whenever you're like, okay, it's this much for a half hour, this much for an hour, a lot of times, unless people are familiar with tarot and used to getting tarot, like if they're kind of new, they're just always going to go with the cheaper option. And then I hate to be that person who's like, well, we're out of time. And they're like, but I still have questions. And it's like, well, I guess you should have paid for the advanced, or like if you want to upgrade. I don't like that. I I have a whole complicated thought about how I feel about charging for tarot. I do feel like it's appropriate. And maybe someday I'll make a video on that too. You look like my wife's lesbian lover. Thank you. I appreciate that. If I could be a lesbian, can I tell you the way that I would be a lesbian tomorrow? I do have the haircut for it. I often end up with a lesbian haircut. This is a little bit becoming a lesbian haircut because I got myself an undercut and now it's growing out. I don't think it's terrible, but it is a little bit wild. And I have a cowlick back here, and so if I don't really like put enough product on it, it kind of does weird things and goes all over the place. But yeah, like so I prefer to charge just for a reading, and now I just like I book at least an hour. Like if I have multiple people, I like it when there's groups. So I have this group that like every 4 to 6 months they like schedule time. Now that I don't have a space, it's a little bit tougher, but we always try to they'll book like a day, and I'll just read for like all 5 of them, 5, 6, however many happen to come that day. And I like it because we can just kind of like go, and it's whatever time it takes is what it takes. And all that. That's what I appreciate. I hate when I have to try to fit it into a schedule, and like charging by different amounts of time never worked for me. So I prefer, but now I've raised my rates a little, not very much though. I was thinking about that. I think this is the year where I'm finally going to go up to $50 for a reading. I've been doing $40 for a reading for a long time. And I think that for a place like North Dakota, I think that like $40 to $50 works pretty well. But like even when I was in Seattle like 8 years ago, it was $90 for a tarot reading. So have I done spectacular? Thank you. Have I done readings online before? I haven't done them very often. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, and because for me it feels very much like an exchange of energy. Like you sit down with somebody, I shuffle the cards, I have them shuffle the cards. And so, like, to me, it always felt like that was part of it. But I was like, I've had requests for online readings. And so I did do a test reading with somebody that I knew, where I was like, I knew she was interested in getting a reading. And I was like, hey, if I don't charge you, like, you can tip me if you want to. Don't feel pressured. But I was like, if I give you a reading online, will you test out like an online reading? And she had a very good experience with it. So I'm open to the idea of doing online readings. I don't advertise that I do online readings. That's maybe where I'm at, is that like, I feel like it is, I mean, I had a good experience. We had a good reading. She said that she felt like it connected really well. So I am definitely open to the idea of online readings, but I don't do them very regularly. I prefer to read in person. But I do know that we live in a global world. We live in an online world. And so sometimes you just gotta hop online. So yeah, but I'll tell you my, like, we're getting close to 2 hours, so maybe that's how I'll wrap up. Is I'll tell you a little bit, because this is something that I always wondered about, is I was like, I was doing tarot readings, like, yes, to make a little bit of extra money, and it's always nice when I get a reading and I have a little bit of extra spare cash or whatever, but I'm not doing it as my living. I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff. And so then I was like, I want to help people. Like, I want to help people have information and have perspective and be able to sell, because nobody comes to you because they're like, everything in my life is great. Can we please have a reading so that you can tell me how wonderful my life is? Those aren't the people that come to you for readings. People come to you because shit's going on in their life and they want help and they want perspective and they want, whatever it is. North Dakota isn't that far. Aren't you in Texas? North Dakota is the farthest. And so, what's a good boy's name? I don't know. I have a thing for Irishmen, so I like Liam, Colin, very Irish names. Where was I going with that? Oh, but so yeah, so like I want to help people. So then it's like, well, why not just, you're a global person, North Dakota is close. I love that. Yeah, that's true. You have been flying all over the place. So it would not be that hard. The service to Grand Forks is terrible. I'll meet you in Fargo. That's a much better, much more comfortable trip. Unless you love Delta. Delta's like our one. We've got a little regional one that goes to Vegas, and we've got Delta. But yeah, so like, I was like, well, then why not just do this for free? And so I read this book. When you were a kid, you asked why you weren't named Kevin. Did I like Kevin? Interesting, because I remember in second grade, and this is because I think even as a little kid, I think there was something queer going on. Because there was a boy in my class named Jason Dury, and in second grade, and he moved away after second grade, but he was still around, and I was convinced I wanted to like change my name to Jason Michael. So I don't remember liking Kevin, but at one point I was convinced that I wanted to change my name to Jason Michael, and I remember it being right, and I think it was because I was in love with Jason Dury. I think he was like my first like boy crush, and then he moved away after that, and so I think that like, but that sticks with me. That's somebody I've never looked up, but the world of social media, maybe I should look him up and just see what he's up to. Just wild out of nowhere. No, not that he would just appear, like not call me one day and be like, hey, I'm in Fargo. But if you ever did travel up this way, I would recommend Fargo. But yeah, so I read this book that was all about professional tarot. And it was talking about like how to set up a website, all this. And so it was somebody who was a tarot reader that also ran it as a business. And it was a really, really good book. And it gave me a lot of good information. And she kind of laid out the perfect sort of justification for why it's ethical and okay to charge for tarot. Because theoretically, like, I teach tarot workshops. I have an online version of my tarot workshop where I teach people how to like start using the tarot and start listening to their intuition and all this kind of stuff. And because I truly believe that everybody has some sort of like intuitive, I don't want to say gift, like I want to say like that people have like an intuition. We all have an intuition that's knocking around, and it's just finding the right modality that you're going to connect to. For some people, it's cards. For some people, it's mediumship. For some people, it's prayer. For some people, it's pendulums. Whatever it is, like everybody's got something that they can connect to. So if I believe that anybody could like learn to read the tarot, then why would I charge for it if anybody can do it? And so this woman in this thing, she laid out, she's like, well, if you think about it, theoretically, everybody could learn how to cut their own hair. And some people do. Some people, they're like, I'm not going to pay for that. They could learn to cut like I could learn to cut, and I have, and it was a quarantine buzz cut, and it was awful. Every time I try to cut my own hair, bad things happen. That's why I haven't like gone after this, because whenever I get like an undercut like this, I always have a moment where I'm like, I could replicate that, and then I fuck it up, and then I have to shave my whole head, and then I have to give myself one of the quarantine buzz cuts. But she's like, anybody could learn how to cut their own hair, but they don't. Some people, you know, everything in our lives, the way our lives run right now is that most things cost us something. And they either cost us money or they cost us time. And so if you wanted to take the time, you could learn how to cut your own hair. If you wanted to take the time, you could learn how to change your own oil. If you wanted to learn how to cook, if you wanted to learn how to do all of these different things, you could, but it's going to cost you time. And time is a limited resource. So a lot of us, we decide these are the things that I care enough to like take the time to learn how to do. The other ones, I'm just going to pay the money to somebody else who has taken the time. So I go to a stylist who took the time to learn how to cut hair, and they do that. And is this my natural hair? Well, it's certainly, I mean, clearly this is my natural hair color. I don't know where these dyed-in roots came from. But it is the natural hair growing out of my head, if that's what you mean. Ugly Casanova. I agree with the intuition. I hung out with a bunch of alternatives, which, yeah, everybody's got something. Everybody, and people know about it. Like, if you're doing something and you get that little voice in your head, and they're like, well, that's just the little voice in my head. I'm like, but where does that come from? Like, if you tell people, like, just do word association or whatever, and they're like, well, I'm just making that up in my mind. But how did you make that up in your mind? That's your intuition. If you're driving somewhere and you know two different routes and you feel like one is going to be better, one is going to be faster, whatever, that's, I mean, it's decision making, but you're also listening to your intuition of like, oh, I don't know, I don't feel, and that's really what learning some of these things is. So people could learn how to do the tarot, but they don't want to take the time, and that's fine. They can then go to a tarot reader to somebody who has taken the time and spent the years studying and learning and all of that kind of stuff. The other reason is that she also said that one thing that's really important is that people value things that they pay for. And they're like, that's the hardest one for people to sometimes get on board with, but it makes a huge world of difference. How many of our friends, if we give them advice, like, we mean well, right? Like, somebody asks us about a thing, we tell them what we think, what we truly believe, we give them our perspective, they go off and do the thing that they wanted to do anyway. Because when you get it for free, you don't value it as much. You don't value it in the same way. Like, you know, even like in the like beauty sphere that we are in, you know, we've talked about this before, is not that getting PR makes you untrustworthy, because I don't believe that. But I think that if you have to make the choice of, am I going to spend my money? I have to work to make money. The money that comes in, is that going to be the thing that, like, I want to spend my money on? Or if somebody's just going to give me something for free, like, there's stuff that I would take for free if somebody offered it to me in PR that I wouldn't necessarily pay for, right? Because we have a different relationship to it. The same thing with the advice and the perspective that you get from tarot is that if people pay for it, and again, being like, making sure that your price is like, I think, and to me, I think also is commensurate to your skill and your level of study and all that kind of stuff. But if people pay for the experience, they will treat it differently than if they just got it for free. So people are more likely to listen, more likely to value it, more likely to put more weight on it. And so that kind of explanation, I was like, oh yeah, I get it. Because I really did kind of get into it. I mean, sometimes I do appreciate that, like, sometimes if like a whole bunch of my favorite indie brands are all putting out shit at the same time and it's starting to stretch my wallet a little bit, if suddenly a couple of people ask me, they're like, can I get a tarot reading? And I'm like, good, like a little bit of extra money to kind of, all that kind of stuff. Bryce, I'm so sorry to hear that. Get some salve, take an ibuprofen. But if I get a couple readings that are going to help me, like, I appreciate that money is coming in. Any like little side hustle that I have, I always appreciate when there's a little bit more coming in, because it's going to go out. We know how I am. But that's not the point. Like, the reason why I do that, because of all the things that I could do to make money, I chose this, and I chose it because I want to help people with things. Deep moon divination. John, I have no idea, but I'll have to Google that, because like I said, there was not even a sign. It was literally, it wasn't like marker sign, but it was a printed out sign that said tarot readings. There was no, and I think it was like freshly opened when I got there. Like, I had never seen it on any of my previous trips, but I just happened to be walking, and there was that little like collapsible sign that said tarot readings. There was no sign on the door. There was no, it's in that area, still searching. I'll have to look. Like I said, I don't even know if he's still there. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about him. Maybe I'm never meant to find him again. I'll have to look and see. But like, maybe now I'm thinking about Janet's question of, would I be disappointed? Maybe that was just a one-time thing. Maybe that was the universe trying to like drop something in my lap and be like, this is what you need right this moment. Because sometimes I just do readings and stuff for fun, but every once in a while there will be times where I'm really like troubled, or like things are going well, or I'm in like one of my like big massive depressions or something, and I'll just like run across something like a tarot reader or something that just like, it just pops up, and it's all of a sudden like, that's the thing I need right now. This is popping up because I need it here. Dude definitely has pepperoni nipples. Oh, Doom Turkey. Whatever floats your boat. In that area, still searching. I think that's a mistake to go back regardless. I think that if I found it, like, I think that it would be interesting. It would be interesting. But yeah, I don't, and because I've never searched for it. That's the other thing, is like, I think there's something to that, Janet, because even though I had this like crazy experience, I've never like sought, like, we have the internet. I'm on the internet all the time, so clearly I'm well versed in the fact that it exists and you can find things. But maybe Dawn's obsession will, like, maybe that's the key she's going to track him down, and maybe that'll be the right time. Because I've never had that push to be like, I have to find out who that was. I just like, yeah, it was exactly what I needed. And if I have one regret about that experience, is that I didn't think to record it. Because like I said, usually, like, I thought if it was going to be like a regular tarot reading, I thought if I can connect with like 65%, and it's just a typical tarot reading, I was like, I'll remember that. I'll remember that much or whatever. And it was just like so fast. I mean, it was just like bam, 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 like all this kind of stuff. Now 3 weeks, bam, 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 and like just, I mean, my head just like spun around like it was, and I was like, yeah, that. And as we were talking, everything was like, yeah, and I get, yeah, totally. This sounds like this, and like all about like I could just immediately. And he wasn't even like asking me for names or like whatever. It would just be like, what's, this person. I'm like, he's like, can you, like, do you know somebody who like fits this description or that fits into your life this way? And I was like, yeah. It was wild. It was absolutely wild. All right. We've been here for a long time. We were going to stop at 38 minutes, and then we did swatches, and now we're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I appreciate all of you. Except for Doom Turkey, who's wondering about my nipples. Do you like alcohol? I don't drink very much. I'm not like in a recovery program. I'm not like sober, but I don't drink a lot. I just don't like it. My dad's side of the family, there are some issues with alcohol, especially with my father, that have certainly colored some of my history, but I don't mind it. I like fruity drinks, or I like Long Island teas. Some feast or famine. This bitch is crazy. But thank you, everyone. Glad to see. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that you made it, Janet. That was very exciting. So thank you, everybody. Don, if you find any leads, send them my way. But I don't know that I'll look them up. But let me know if you find out anything, because I would love to know more just about who that, even if I didn't go back, I would love to find out more about who that person was, because even just to be able to recommend him, of like, I had this transformative experience. So thank you, everybody. I love and appreciate all of you. Let's see if I can remember my outro, since I haven't done this for a little while. So yes, I would love it if you were here in the chat, if you would circle back around, leave a comment down below, help me feed that algorithm, feed the beast. I would love it if you would do that. Replay crew, you rock, so leave your comments down below. While you are leaving me that comment, don't forget that you can give me that thumbs up to tell me that you appreciated the video, or if you are like, girl, what is going on with you? What is happening? Why are you giving us all of this satanic witchcraft shit? Like, go ahead and give me that thumbs down. It is all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch, and neither am I. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, become part of the family, and hit that bell icon so you'll be notified of all future uploads. Make sure that you go into it, because otherwise it'll default to selected, and we know how YouTube is about like top comments, selected notifications. Put it to all notifications so that you get notified whenever I do a live or video. I try really hard to make sure I have at least one video or live per week. I try to sprinkle it around glam, geek, and gore as much as possible. And if you're lucky, if you're very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, tarot-rific. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website, just pretend it's there, The World of Champagne at janessaj.com. Thank you so much for watching. Hello, something else, 90210. LOL feed. Okay. Yes, I hope everybody has a good night. Thank you. I love and appreciate all of you. If you are a reader, if you're interested in something a little bit creepy, a little bit fun, Cody Blotter has a book called Relict that is available on Amazon. This is one of our drag performers locally. This is her civilian name, and so she's been a queen with us for a long time, and she has written a book that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. I picked this up from Amazon, and I'm going to read it and report back. I'm sure once I finish it, I will put something up on janessaj.com. If you've not been over to janessaj.com, there's lots of great content. There's new galleries. And for until the beginning of June, every other Friday, I think there's one coming out tomorrow, but every 2 weeks there is a new gallery on janessaj.com until like June 5th. Tomorrow, I think, might be a Rowan photography. I think it might be other shots from when we did our Clue photo shoot. The Clue calendar is going to be coming for 2027, so look for that. I'm going to start working on that early so I can get it all produced, and we're going to have special editions. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited for the Clue calendar project. They're doing Clue at our local community theater. I need to get my hands on the script to see if I want to audition for anything. They're doing that next May, so while you have my Clue calendar hanging up in your house, you could potentially watch me in a Clue play if you come to Grand Forks. But thank you, everybody, for stopping in. Thanks for the great discussion. We went 2 hours and 15 minutes, so I absolutely appreciate the time. So many of you are here for all or most of it, so I love and appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. I really, really do mean that. And until I see you again, bye. All right, the awkward ending of the stream. There we go. Have a good night.